So right now I'm looking at the animation that I feel like I've finalized for now. I could make it better, or I'm not necessarily sure what better would mean. I could make it more refined, I could say. I could go back through this and make the lines more precise, but I feel like this is a pretty good description of what I'm trying to go for. This is called The Perfect Question. That's the name of the animation. I haven't named the actual piece in Procreate yet because I haven't exported it. Yeah, a bit more on this. I made a video of me going through the process. We can actually look through the time-lapse replay. So originally I wanted to describe learning a space and not necessarily knowing which questions to ask, because you don't necessarily know what the space is composed of. And then once you have an idea of what the shapes you're going to interact with are, you can go through and actually formulate a question that gets you specific elements of what you're looking for. I talk more about the reasons why I did this approach in the other video, so I don't necessarily need to rehash all of those, but in this time I was experimenting with different shapes and trying to indicate that different actions show up visibly differently. Like if you were to watch this animation, you wouldn't necessarily see these lines as more than just something that takes up space. And when I add the in-between frames, then you can see the entire animation. Here I am filling those tweens. Sticking with more of an outline style here. Adding more empty tween frames. I like doing that because you can see the entire animation in the time-lapse replay. Here I am roughly filling out blob shapes. I knew at this point that I wasn't going to use this part for the actual animation, like the end result. And I talked about that in the other video. There I am getting rid of frames. And I think that brings us to where we are now. So now I'm going to watch myself talking about, what is this? I know that I don't want it's an interesting animation. It's just not really saying anything. And this part right here, this is a lot of frames to say, oh yeah, there are these two things that aren't really related to the main idea. All right, so at this point, I was talking about the reasons why I wouldn't want to keep the work that I did in the other video, or in the video that I was talking about in the other video. And just briefly summarizing, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch, I guess I might as well watch the entire thing, but summarizing in case you want to skip ahead, I think that I'm going to add timestamps at some point to this video. I might not. We'll see. Maybe I'll edit this one. Yeah, we'll see what the direction is. I wanted to talk about my work and the reasons why I'm doing it this way. So what I was essentially saying at this point was these outline shapes demonstrate that theoretically you can add a lot of work towards an animation and know that it's not necessarily going to be used for the end product. And you can do that because it shows up. Like you can see how much time it took for me to go through this and then to watch myself go through this. And it's not necessarily bad to do work that's more visible than helpful. But I also do kind of wonder why we are doing that. Sometimes. Like there are questions about efficiency and the priorities that we have as humans to remain human, especially in light of all of the things that are changing about technology, so on and so forth. Waxing and waning. I'm going to continue, press play, of a circle turning into, this circle turning into the bottom of the question mark. So I'm going to get rid of a lot of these frames. Starting from, I guess, when it stops being a circle. Maybe here. It's past your bedtime, bud. I love you. Ah, dang it. Okay, cool. Whew. I thought at that point that I had lost all of the frames that I had selected. Another way to have done this would be to export all of these frames as PNGs and then go through and just like select them using a mouse and a file explorer. That would have added another step. It was a bit easier for me to just select them all. How many frames is that? So 334 to 407 times 2. What is that? 80, 160 frames? Ish. So at this current resolution, I can have 462 frames. And getting rid of 160 is actually a decent amount. Okay, so at some point in the last animation, I ran out of frames to describe this. I don't even know if I want the beginning of the animation, to be honest. 167. 26, 25. Like, does that actually tell a story of something becoming a question mark? Like this end part does, definitely. So I think the thing coming out, we should probably start around here. You can hear Boof rolling around in the background. So that is 3. I don't think that I got rid of 240 frames in that previous. Did I delete the other ones? Let me pause that. 14,154. Yeah, I guess I did have 3 different. Yes, so 240. It's 307, 154. Boof is sleepy again, but staying out here because she wants to get rubs. 162. I think that doesn't actually say anything. Yeah, I decided to get rid of the beginning of the animation as well. So I don't think the animation is that many frames now. Boof. .307. 59. Wait. I'm not going to count that. Yeah, I like that a lot better. So this kind of feels like when you don't know too much about an area and you know-ish that there's a question that you want to ask at the beginning of it. And so you explore the space with the bottom of that point, like trying to find the main point of whatever you're doing by examining the perimeter and then getting more into it. That's when the question mark glows teal. And I like the way that this is kind of structured. So I'm going to call that done for now. And I might want to go back through and make this a little bit more clean at some point. It's very good. I like this one. Okay, so now I'm kind of curious how many frames there are. Is there an easy way to estimate? So from here, 408 to 64, I'm just alternating. Not alternating. Well, kind of. Then it skips ahead. 206, 66, 413, 207, 414, 67. So So those are multiplied by 3. Until 235. Wait, no. 462. What's the easiest way to do this? It's too early in the morning for me to think about this. So I'm just going to count them one by one. $20. 40. 60. 80. 100. 120. 237 to 282. It's about 50 to 170 frames down from 462 is pretty good. I like the one that looked kind of like a whale chasing a little blue dot. Wait, that's not right. I should go to bed. That's the whale.